$100 computer was a piece of shit.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers
to 200.
200 more. I think we can do it. It went by fast.
What, did you just stomp it like you were about to do a shot?
Yeah, he did. He fucking double tapped.
I did too. Actually, I did too.
I was trying to break off that stem.
I did. It's just such a celebratory thing.
You know what's a waste? A stem. I want to fight with my glass the whole night.
I want to feel like I have a dagger in my hand when I drink
I feel
wine.
like I can't do anything else with my hands except hold a glass.
Are you anti-stem?
Chris is anti-stem.
Oh, but you're not.
I think this is a delightful invention.
I think stems are good because it doesn't make it any warmer than it already is.
Yeah. We're already drinking hot kava. Hot kava tonight.
Hot kava.
Trying to celebrate our 200th episodes, you son of a bitch.
Cody, your tripod looks like it's from 1942. It looks like something.
I love it.
That filmed the trenches of Normandy.
Kyle's looks more futuristic than any set on Ghost of Mars. All right, let's do it. Let's roll into this. There we go. Shut the fuck up, Chris. Hey guys, welcome to Cult Film and Review, the podcast where we discuss the films you love but no one else gets, and we see if they still hold up. Tonight, we are finally talking about the death of John Carpenter's career, because we're talking about Ghost of Mars. So let's start the show. 200, baby. Woo! Hey guys, thanks for joining the cult. We really appreciate it. Do us a favor, head over to iTunes, leave us a review. We will give you a shout out at the end of the show. We got one to do.
Shout out.
So make sure you stick around for that. Then head over to our website, cultfilmandreview.com. And check out all of our fun stuff there. Pick up a t-shirt while you're there too. Check out our YouTube page. Subscribe, like, comment. Tonight is our 200th episode, and as always, I am joined by Kyle Smith.
Hey, how's it going?
Chris Wilmerick.
Hey, what's up?
And Michael Salustio.
Hello, everyone.
For our 200th episode, we decided as a group to finally tackle John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars.
This is another pinnacle moment. On our 100th, we did Escape from New York with John Carpenter. Mm-hmm. And now on our 200th, we're doing another John Carpenter movie.
We did one of his, and oddly linked. These movies are oddly linked. And
at this rate, we'll be finished with his catalog by like 2027.
We're hoping.
We're almost there. And then we can finally be free.
Cody said we can't quit the podcast until we do all of John Carpenter's
I also think
shit.
it's weird that like this comes off of like Hackers, which is like another film. Like if we talked about two films on this show more, it's probably Hackers and Ghost of Mars.
Oh yeah, that's true. This is another like an inside joke
jabby
film.
Inside joke that we use.
Well, this is what I was explaining this to Chris earlier. I was like, well, you know, it's one of those movies where I think like we've been talking about it for so long on the show, like it's become funnier in my head than it and like bad than it actually is, because it's really just bad. It's just really bad.
You thought you were getting a so bad it's good, but you just got a so bad. Is how you feel.
Yeah.
So bad it's long.
I mean,
I don't give it away. I'm giving it away early in the 200.
Okay.
They sure are.
I mean,
it's also our shortest episode. We're done for tonight. Thank you.
200 seconds.
Well,
seconds is exactly how long.
2001. I mean, where were you in 2001? I mean, where was John Carpenter? He was probably. I mean,
I was.
This is getting deep, dude.
Where were you?
Are you talking about like metaphysically?
I was 21. I just turned able to drink alcohol, and he was still a famous person.
Well said, Mike. Well said. We were working at the video store. I remember that, and I always thought, man, that cover art actually looks pretty cool. Like, I wonder what that's about. But then people kept telling me how like bad this movie was, and so it kept me away from it. Sorry, I know we didn't get to this point.
I know. I was gonna say we told Chris we could host one live show, and he just like took host to the max.
He just when we got done with Pink Flamingos,
transcending all things we do.
When we got done with Pink Flamingos, which we're done with now, and by the way, sold out.
It's like the pirate that took over Captain Phillips' ship. I'm the captain now.
Look at me.
I know
Look
Kyle
at me, Cody.
usually goes
I'm
first.
the captain.
Kyle usually goes first on this. Yeah.
On what?
About if you when was the first time you encountered this film?
I'll tell you.
Or have you seen it before?
I'll go. Since Chris is taking over as the host, I'll go next. I remember exactly the buzz from the video store, and I got it from the video store. I didn't see it in theaters. I don't think I was like. at that point I was still pretty new in film, so I don't think I knew who John Carpenter was, but I didn't know who John Carpenter was. You know what I mean? So to me, it was just like, okay, I know vampires, so let's go watch this movie. And I watched it and was like, okay.
But you knew Halloween though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? But as far as like other movies, I didn't make the connection yet. I was still in the infancy of my love for film. And then when I scrolled it, and this is a very early impression of John Carpenter for me. And it was not a good one.
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
Kyle?
What are we asking the question?
First time you saw it. Ghost of Mars.
I don't actually remember, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't remember the first time. It was, it was around the time this came out. My brother Ryan was also working. I think he might have been at the movie theater when this came out. But I had seen most of John Carpenter's films up to this point, and I distinctly remember having like a real affinity for vampires. And I remember watching this and thinking like, like that was it. I didn't walk away with it being like, wow. Because like vampires, there was like the whole intro, the nest scene in that was really cool. The music was iconic. It had that cool. So I was expecting a lot of that. And there's just so many elements to this movie that are just a little off from John Carpenter that I don't really think I connected the dots. I think I connected it more with, it's an Ice Cube film.
Yeah.
Than a John Carpenter movie.
Mike?
I saw it in theaters.
Of course, dude. This guy saw everything in theaters.
But here's the thing.
Time to be alive.
Here's the thing about this film. While I was watching it, like the whole time, I'm like, wait a second. I thought this was like way early. Like I thought I had seen this movie earlier because I don't remember recalling it and saying, "Holy fucking shit, this film is bad." So I was like, I had to have been smart enough at age 21 to be like, this is terrible, and I'm always gonna remember how bad this film is. But like I don't. I remember seeing it on cable a few times more. I guess in my mind, I thought I saw it as a film that I saw maybe when I was like 13.
Gotcha.
And it just was like, oh, this is pretty fucking cool. And then like saw it later on in life and be like, this is terrible. But instead, I'm like, wait, no, I'm 21 when I see this film. Like, why don't I have like deep hatred for it? Like, why don't I have
maybe
like,
it's
this
just
feeling? I loved Big Trouble in Little China so much. I know why I went to go see this film.
Yeah.
Is because I was a John Carpenter fan.
maybe it's one of those things where it's like you saw it and you were disappointed, but it's like we don't talk about it. Like you know,
like it was a buried buried
like,
memory.
Well, that everybody's entitled to a couple duds, okay, man. Like you kind of like justify it in your head and just forget that he ever made that film.
This is like a follow up dud though.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I think I kind of have approached John Carpenter's career like that. Like if I'm thinking about his films and I'm talking about his films, like I will blow through the entire catalog and have some production knowledge, some sort of information, a backstory. I just never even really connect this film to his work, which is weird because I love John Carpenter, but it's just this movie is just such a flat film.
I gotta wonder. I wonder if we just all knew it. Like, it's over, man. This is gonna end. This is it.
Well, I think
the era is done.
I think he did, but we'll get into that a little bit later. First, though, we should probably get into what the plot of this film is with Mike.
Guys,
what?
There's this transport team. They're flying to Mars, right? They're after.
Nobody's flying at all. Nobody flies at all in this film.
Yeah, it's a big thing that they're on a train.
They're not coming from Earth.
They're all on a train.
Literally on a train.
No, but they came from Earth, though, didn't it? Don't they talk about it?
They live.
Wait.
They
Didn't
live
even
on
get a
Mars.
sentence into the damn description.
They live on Mars.
200 strong.
They live on Mars.
Isn't Clea Duvall at least not from Mars?
No,
I thought that was like her first day on the job.
They're all from Mars. She's the first day as a cop.
All right, guys. So there's this transport team on Mars. They're taking a train to transport this criminal. His name is Williams or something. Desolation. I was like, destitute? I can't remember. Desolation Williams. They're going to
Demolition Man.
And they're there to transport this guy. They show up to this place where he was being incarcerated, and they find it's a friggin' ghost town. Everyone's gone. They're like, what the hell? This used to be a mining town. Everybody was bustling. Where is everybody? They start, like looking around a little bit. They notice that the criminals are all there, but like everybody else is gone, and they find out Like there's bodies hanging upside down, the heads have been cut off, all kinds of crazy shit. There are people acting strange, locking themselves in cars. They don't know what's going on. Finally, they find it out. One of the guys sees this army of what essentially are just humans, but they're like mutilated. Like they've done weird things to their bodies. They put like piercings and all kinds of metal in their face. And he's like, crap, these people have gone just berserk. These are the miners. They've gone berserk. Come to find out, guys, it's an ancient biological evil that has been living underneath the crust of Mars. And they have let this sucker out, and it is infecting people and turning them into cannibals. I don't know what the fuck you would call them, but yeah, and it's up to these police officers who now have to team up with criminals. It's basically assault on Precinct 13 at this point. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm. That was great.
There it is. There you have it. Ghost of Mars.
Chris, always in there with the trying to make you feel good.
That was great,
Yeah,
dude. You know,
No,
what?
I liked it. I was like, yeah,
Thank
that
you.
really summed it up well.
Can I just say
that was a fucking movie
Can
plot.
I just say thank you, thank you, Mike.
All right, guys, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about Ghost of Mars. And we're back talking about Ghost of Mars. Came out 2001. This is let's talk a little bit about the time period of films in the early 2000s real quick, and touch on the thing that this movie fell victim to, in my opinion.
Okay.
Which is when we're gonna start going to rappers to be actors. and throw them in like horror movies or action movies. I think that was the get-go before they decided, hey, they work way better in family films, which is fucking weird.
They made a real transition.
Yeah,
Like,
but
can we
because
just
you got to
put
think
them on
about
a
it, it was
road
like
trip?
Buster Rhymes was in Halloween around that time, and Resurrection. You had and same thing
LL
with
Cool J.
Resurrection.
Yeah.
Wasn't Resurrection like way after this?
No.
no, this is
Was
early
it?
2000s. We're talking about early 2000s.
H2O, LL Cool J was in that.
Yeah.
That was 2000. Like
Resurrection was like what 2005.
No,
Whatever.
earlier than that.
But guys, like they still do that to this day.
And it never works though.
I don't know. It kind of works now.
With who?
It's weird when like Childish
Cube.
Gambino is like
Gambino.
Childish Gambino.
2002
Sorry,
for Resurrection.
Gambino.
2002 for
Damn.
Resurrection. So
like
I'm
Donna
off.
Glover. I think there's a lot of like rappers now. Like you see him like doing a lot more cameo stuff in stuff, but like
yeah, but not like
I feel like they're like really
they put him
talented
like
actors
they
as well
put him
now.
in like full on like Ja Rule in fucking Half Past Dead with Steven Seagal. Like they put him in like full on starring roles.
I
I'm
mean,
talking
this
about
isn't-
but I'm talking about now, presently. I think that like people are more. I don't know. I think musicians are a little bit more serious about acting careers nowadays. I don't know if it's just me. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I just saw A Star Is Born, and I was just.
But see,
smitten.
that's not a. But they're
yeah, that's a
not. But
great
this was like
movie.
a horror. This is again. These are specifically in horror and action movies.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, I agree with you that this was
Musicians-
definitely a thing.
yeah, musicians always had crossed over into like film, but yeah, maybe there was a trend to use rap artists because that was music that was
Well,
more
That was just
popular.
the more popular at the
and
time.
the original person who was going to play Desolation was Jason Statham.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the studio
Oh,
said,
good choice.
We have
No.
Ice Cube.
we have Ice Cube. He's going to be a big action star.
Well, he was in Anaconda, or at least that happened at somewhere
Yeah.
around here. So
So that got switched.
Yeah, but I feel like Ice Cube was like on his way to be like a relatively decent actor.
Yeah, let's
though.
not-
This isn't like a new thing. Like Ice
No.
Cube in a movie. Like he already been in a handful of films already at this point.
I
Boys in the
agree.
Hood.
I agree. But the
Yeah,
studio
was
came
he
in.
like nominated for an Oscar for that film?
I don't know about that,
Mm.
but
Jason Statham's
Might
not a
have been.
star
I
at
don't
this
think
time.
so.
Jason Statham's not a star at this time. And they put in Ice Cube in over him, because that's what the studio wanted. You also got to realize, too, this is a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but it explains a lot about this movie before we get into it, too.
Okay.
Natasha Hestridge.
Henstridge.
Hestridge.
Hestridge? No,
Henstridge.
Henstridge. You're saying
Henstridge.
Hestridge.
I'm not. You are.
I'm right, you're wrong. I'm big, you're little. She was not the first choice for this part whatsoever. There was about 3 or 4 actresses before her. Courtney Love was actually supposed to play this part. She was training for this, and her foot got ran over by someone's ex-girlfriend or ex-wife.
Sounds about right.
What
okay.
the hell? Some drama.
And then her boyfriend, Liam White, who's in this film, got Natasha the job. So she came on like she did like 2 back-to-back pictures and then came on to this one like 2. I think it was like 2 weeks before they started filming.
She had a good run at this time.
That was her run, I think.
I think this was
Species. This.
No, she had Species 2, this.
Species 2.
We don't count Species 3 because that one's just terrible. And that's pretty much. I looked up her career because I was like, I wonder how her career did because I don't remember. And it's realistically Species 2, this, Species 3, and then a bunch of movies I've never heard of.
Okay.
And then let's talk about the big thing too with this one, which it also explains a ton, and you can see it in this movie. And it makes it so much better to watch with your imagination. So this script is originally Escape from Mars. That's the original script. It was supposed to be...
Wait. This was supposed to be a Snake Plissken movie?
This was supposed to be a Snake Plissken movie.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Wish they would have did that.
This was supposed to be a Snake Plissken movie, but here's the problem. What? Escape from L.A. came out. And with a $58 million budget, did something like fucking like $14 million. It's a like crazy low number.
Man.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but crazy
Not
low.
justifiable enough to give him more money for this franchise.
For another franchise. So they said, the studio said, fuck no, we ain't doing another Snake Plissken movie. Get out of here.
Definitely not on Mars.
So if you're going to do it, you're going to change it, and it's going to have Ice Cube in it, and it can't be Snake Plissken.
Right.
So it turned into
Interesting.
Desolation
That
Williams.
kind of makes sense.
It's fucking
that
dumb
kind of
name.
makes sense, honestly, because I don't know who the Snake Plissken character would have been. Maybe Natasha Henstridge's
Ice
character.
No, it would have been Ice Cube. Are you kidding me?
He's wearing Snake Plissken's outfit.
Literally.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
That makes a lot of sense, by the way.
Does it not? Now, when you like go back and watch it, and you picture Ice Cube as Snake Plissken, and go back and watch it, it's a lot more
That's
interesting.
cool.
Now, and you're like, this film would have been so much better.
I
as
thought
an
maybe
Escape.
Natasha Henstridge, because she had kind of a interesting role, like a very dominant like female role. I thought, oh, maybe they went this route with it.
There's also a reason for that. So apparently, a lot of people think that this movie also has somewhat of a jab in it because his previous movie before this was Vampires.
Right.
And a lot of people, I guess, he got a lot of shit for that movie because of it being so misogynistic.
Mm-hmm.
With Baldwin's character. Like basically beating the girl who's turning into a vampire throughout the whole movie, and then she falls in love with him, and he falls in love with her.
Okay.
So I guess he
got pushback on that.
He got pushback on that, and so I guess this was like
his apology.
No, his like kind of like fuck you to it
Oh,
was
okay.
like making the society, because they bring it up too. It's what's the
Maternal?
no.
Matriarchal.
Yes, they make it that a society. I guess he did that on purpose, but then it's really never brought up again throughout the whole movie. It's an interesting take, and it's like one of the interesting moves he does in this
Which
film.
is odd, considering the leader is totally,
Well,
not a female.
What's that?
The main. You're talking about. What do you mean? What civilization? What are you talking about? The civilization
On
of
Mars.
ghosts?
No, on Mars. The Mars civilization. It says it in the beginning.
The humans
of the
that live on Mars.
Oh, the
Yes.
humans that live on Mars. Okay. No, I thought you were talking about the ghosts.
No.
I was like, I
ghosts.
don't remember this happening.
No, the ghosts. Ghosts
Oh,
are
you got a lot from that flashback.
ghosts are old school.
Yeah.
Mike.
Okay. Good. All right.
Old,
I'm sorry.
Old school misogyny.
Continue. I apologize. Okay.
OG.
But it's something that they make a point of bringing up in the beginning of this film, and then
Yeah.
it goes nowhere. Like
That's
really
all right.
has
It just
no-
needs to set it up. John Carpenter. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. John Carpenter is not a man who sets up exposition at the beginning that he's going to explore later. He sets up at the beginning because he doesn't have time to deal with it ever again. So he
Yeah.
at least just tells you about it and then move on.
Yeah, that's why there's
I
always.
will agree that that's the theme.
Yeah, he frequently uses like a narrator in the beginning, right? I mean,
Almost all of his movies start with like a weird text that's coming
preface.
on. It's like,
Yeah.
here's set the stage.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's not accurate at all.
No.
There's a few.
The stuff in the 90s, maybe. I mean, Escape from New York and LA start like that.
Yeah.
And this one starts a little
Doesn't
bit like that, I guess.
what Prince of Darkness start like that? I thought there was a whole thing on that.
No.
No.
This
Okay.
movie opens, in my opinion, the worst way that you can open a horror film.
What, in space?
No,
Ever.
no. Just the fact that like 3 minutes in, we already know who's gonna die, so we already take out the suspense of who's gonna die.
Oh, right, because nobody came back.
This is my like I would honestly say this is one of my more hated methods of storytelling. Although it's been done to somewhat success in other films and older
Silent Night,
films.
Deadly Night Part 2.
It's done
Thank you,
We know-
Chris.
Thank you,
Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
But the problem is, John Carpenter, well, exactly what you just described, he took it a little too far to the point where we already know what the end of the film is. But like interviewing somebody and flashing back, and like John Carpenter he added way too much extra shit, I feel like, that we didn't need. Like every time I flash back, like, and what did they do? Well, let me tell you what they did.
Yeah,
And then it
yeah.
starts 5 minutes prior. We've already heard this part of the story, but we're going to hear that 5 minutes happen again, and then the next story will begin.
I know.
So the audience isn't lost. Whereas we couldn't imagine, like, oh, this is happening at the same time. I get it. Like, there's so much exposition about what story I'm looking at right now.
Before we get too detailed into the film, like, so Pitch Black comes like a year right before this. Do you think they were like nervous? Like
About
this
what?
film is I thought the plot of this film was super similar to Pitch Black.
I don't remember Pitch Black enough to be able to say
It's
this
about a
comparison.
police group that goes to
And escorts.
and escorts a criminal.
I don't think
and they're attacked by aliens.
You know what? Knowing that, I bet you anything, since this was originally Escape from Mars, John Carpenter saw that and was like, boom, got it, bang. Quick rewrite and green light.
I'm ready to do this. Let's
I don't
go.
know where he gave up though, because I feel like with all the problems, like him being like, I want Jason Statham for the main character in this film.
But
And then,
Jason
like,
Statham's not Jason Statham at this point.
No, he's
No,
not.
but you could still see he's a solid choice. I mean, watching the
He's
movie,
great, yeah.
like
If he would've been-
my brother Ryan has said about this movie a lot, and I tend to agree with him. He said if Natasha Henstridge, Jesus, and Ice Cube flipped roles with Jason Statham and Pam Grier, it would have been a more solid film. And I actually on this watch, I kind of watched it with that in my head, and I was like, yeah, this actually would have been a way more solid film if Jason Statham was playing Natasha's role and that was flipped, and Ice Cube and Pam Grier were flipped. I feel like that would have been a more solid film.
Interesting.
I think the characters mixed around in this film would have been. I agree with you, because as going into this, I'm like, dude, this is when you look at this film on paper, like
Sounds like Riddick, by the way.
the cast.
That's very weird.
Sounds
The
like-
Sorry, I
cast
just noticed that.
and the crew of this film is a home run. No, if you look at this film on paper, like cast and crew, right? This should be a home run. You got John Carpenter. If you look at this, the special effects team, it's like Greg Nicotero and like
Kurtzman. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like this is a home run, right? And even with the cast at the time is like you have. Before he's like huge, Jason Statham, but you have Jason Statham. You have Ice Cube before. I mean, I'd say he's established, but he's not established.
He's very established, actually.
But-
I feel
Yeah,
like
at this
by this
point.
time.
At this point, he's very established.
I think music wise, but acting wise,
Yeah,
Acting wise, absolutely.
We've seen him in stuff at this
Absolutely.
point. Yeah, we have.
when did
That's-
Friday come out?
Yeah, Friday came out before this came out in like 98, I think.
But
You had
the-
Boys in the Hood. You had, what was after the Friday?
Anaconda, I'm pretty sure it's 99, right?
Anaconda was like 90, 99.
Yeah,
God,
Friday
man.
was 95. Dude, yeah, he's been like,
Dude,
I mean,
he's
if
been
Friday's
killing it.
95, he's killing it.
Yeah, he's been killing it so far as an actor.
So you have like everything on paper, and then you read about like all this stuff that happened, and it just you watch it, and you're like, I see where the shitstorm happened, and where does like Carpenter realize it's a shitstorm? I wonder, and just be like, or does he like not realize
I have
this
an
is a
answer.
shitstorm?
I have an
wanna
answer
hear
for that.
I also have an
I
opinion.
have an answer for that. So, in preparation for this movie, I found out that it's really hard to find online some good like behind the scenes stuff about this movie, and it's even harder to find interviews with John Carpenter about this movie. However, I did find one interview that he sat down with. I forgot who it was IGN, and is when they were talking when he was promoting The Ward, and they spent some time talking about this film. And he actually says when he said he realized when he was preparing the DVD and the bonus features, and he was watching the behind the scenes footage, he realized he was done making movies, because at the beginning of filmmaking, he could see he was full of energy. And then there is a behind the scenes featurette of them making the music with Anthrax and Buckethead.
Mm-hmm.
And he said like he saw himself in those recording sessions and he was fucking dead inside. Like
Oh, man.
Wow.
couldn't be bothered. And he realized that he didn't really give a shit
He didn't
at
care.
all. And he was just like, yeah, I'm fucking done. I'm done
Wow.
making movies. I'm over it. I'm like exhausted.
It shows really in this film.
It fucking
really
does.
does.
This movie feels like it. There's-
Doesn't care. The writing is like, I mean, look,
The writing is the thing that fucking bothers me the most in this movie.
I mean, I would say that even as much as I like Carpenter, like, dialogue has never been a strong suit in his films. Like, that's not a thing that plot has always been like his thing. Like, but this film takes it to a level where I'm just like,
well, I feel like his thing has always been establishing Moon, taking me to an alternate world that I believe in.
Right. I agree 100%.
And yeah, I feel like none of that is happening here. And I feel like his dialogue, which me personally, I'm like, I mean, fuck it, John Carpenter. I don't give a shit. I know I'm gonna get kind of funny dialogue, but this movie especially irked the shit out of me. Like there are things that people do in movies that bother me, and they do it so fucking much in this movie. There's like a collection of writing cliches that have all been collected and shoved into this film. Like one of the ones that it bothers me to no end is like the overabundance. Every opportunity you get to squeeze just another ounce of exposition into every spoken piece of dialogue is in this film. Like, there's the one line I hate. It's like, we're here to pick up Williams. You mean Desolation? It's
right.
Oh my God, are you fucking kidding? Yeah, we know his name's Desolation. Like, okay, cool, fucking cool.
It's so true.
And it's just. No, I'm sorry.
The editing style. I don't even know who edited this film. That's what because the editing style is not John Carpenter.
I'll tell you who edited it. It was an iMac. It was on iMovie. They had three dissolves.
Yeah, and
they used all three.
Used all three. Like I wouldn't be shocked by the end of this film. I see a star swipe at the end because I just feel like
Dude,
this
they have
movie.
their side swipes. There's little side swipes in this movie.
Well, there's the dissolve, which happens for everything. There's not a single scene that just cuts in this movie. Like, stuff can cut. It's fine. It creates tension. But, like, the thing that is weird is the dissolve coupled with the rapid cut for no reason. Yeah. Like somebody walking out of a door. Do I take 5 steps? Ba, ba, ba. Or do I take 3 steps? Step, cut, fade, step, cut, fade.
Yeah.
Step. Dude, and it's just like... Why is this taking longer?
Why did we dissolve within the same scene?
It's taking longer for you to leave this building right now.
Same location. They did it all the time. They dissolved to the same location over and over again.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck is the point of this?
I don't know.
I'm walking up to ice you.
My opinion,
I'm 5 steps closer. 5 steps closer.
This was definitely a phone-in film for John Carpenter, where I feel like what you're saying, the script is terrible. Like, it's literally the most basic shit. I feel like he pulled a little bit from every film that he's ever done and kind of just crammed it into this movie. Like, I saw so many, again, now knowing that it was supposed to be a Pliskin story, like, I was like, dang, they were really going for, like, that Carpenter throwback, like, at this moment. Like, we're trying to give you an Assault on Precinct 13, but also a Snake Plissken story, but also tie in the fucking supernatural element. You know, like, you're getting a fucking salad of all this stuff, but it was almost like an attempt to fill time. It wasn't inspired really in any way. Yeah. And even down to the point where, like, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but holy fucking out of focus was this movie. Like, there were so many shots where, like, characters would be talking and their whole face would be completely out of focus. Like, the lens they were using, like, wasn't angled in the right way. Like, and I don't think it was a creative choice. I feel like it was an oversight.
That's just when a demon left a body, Chris.
You know what's really funny that you mentioned that. So one of the few behind the scenes featurettes I found, it was the scene when they're making their escape out of the jail and they make it to that back room. But before they get to that back room, there's like a hallway fight that's happening, right? And like it was so the behind the scenes guy was filming. There's the cameraman on like a steady cam, and there's the pull focus assistant right there. Like the assistant is like looking away and then darts back and adjusts.
Yeah.
On like when the camera's moving, like not actually paying attention to what the fuck is even happening. And John Carpenter at the end of every take is just like, that's great. Good job.
It
everyone.
wasn't, and it was clearly mistakes were happening, like on the production side. Not like, I mean, okay, so opening up, like The problem I have is you can immediately tell that these are models. Like this is model work.
Oh, the train?
Yeah, the train
Yeah.
in Mars.
Yeah,
and that this is
absolutely.
filmed on some kind of set. Like it doesn't feel like I know it's like another planet, so like you have to kind of extend your imagination. But at the same time, I was just like, no, it looks like they're literally on a stage and it's built up and there's model work that's kind of shoddy.
Well, it's actually not a stage, but it's an actual location. I forgot where, Mexico or
New Mexico. It's a
New
quarry
Mexico.
in New Mexico that they dyed red with food coloring.
Oh, nice.
Is it the same
Okay.
place they filmed Total Recall?
No, but
curious.
good cast.
Okay, so maybe it's not the location itself, but the set pieces.
I did want to talk about the model work though, because here's the thing: there are two. It's. I feel like you get both sides of the spectrum because the model work of like the overhead shots cruising in on the town, cruising in on the mining facility look pretty solid.
They do.
Not gonna lie, the model work of the train, like they put zero fucking effort into the background of those shots. There's literally like a hill that's an inch away from the track, and that's just dust.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you're giving me zero perspective, so this just looks like a toy
There's
train.
also at least one shot where you can tell it's clearly like a painted like picture.
a matte.
Yeah, like a matte
painting.
Yeah, it's like when they're dipping into like the crater. Like there's a scene, and I remember being like, this stands out so much.
Is it when
because,
they
yeah.
Is it when they actually get out of the train, or when she's describing that them first arriving to the complex when they're gonna go get Ice Cube? Like when they're walking down that hill into the village, like that's when I was like, damn, it looks like a fucking matte painting right there.
It does. That does look like a matte painting.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I don't think it is.
No?
No. That's the thing is like this movie instantly feels dated as soon as it starts, which is another thing that's weird.
Yeah, that's why even when like that was another thing that brought me to this. I was like, I was 21 when I saw this. Like this looks like something I would see like in 93, 94. Like I thought we were past this.
Well,
for the budget, it looks B movie. Like,
yeah, it really does,
Here's
man.
the other thing too is like how again goes how uninspired the script is, and I feel like John Carpenter is at this point in his career as a filmmaker too, because they show up to this town, right? They're these cops, this group of like 5 cops, and they show up to this town because they're gonna transport this guy. And they pull up there and they're just like, oh shit, it's a Friday. Where is everybody? Well, they must be indoors. Like, no, this town is like too quiet.
Yeah.
Too quiet.
Yeah.
Like if you're a real cop, you're gonna be like, so there's something fishy here.
And Natasha Henstridge's delivery on like when she's like, they're here to spend money, fucking gamble. I'm just like, your delivery is so fucking bad.
Everybody's delivery in this movie sucks.
No, I
disagree actually with one
I
character.
think that Jason Statham is solid in this film. He's solid for what he should be doing.
I don't know.
No, he got one of the weirdest characters in this film. In a society where it's mostly run by strong women, he's like this weird misogynistic character who's just trying to fuck throughout the whole film. It's a very weird thing.
Yeah, but he stayed in his lane. He stayed in the lane of that character. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, I feel like Natasha Henstridge was struggling to embody the character.
Yeah.
Pam Grier felt like she was kind of calling it in a little
Pam
bit.
Grier was calling that motherfucker in.
Well,
the other two
when
cops
you
are
dive
so
15 minutes into the film,
the other two cops are so forgettable. Like, and then Ice Cube is the only other one that's like, dude, he's good on like I think he's good on the one-on-one scenes, but I feel like he's really not that cool in the action scenes.
And it's so weird in this movie how soft he comes off. Is that weird? He comes off soft as fuck in this movie.
What do you mean soft? Physically or
like
like
both?
mentally? Or I don't understand what you're talking about.
Just all of it. He doesn't come
It's
off
like
like
a big old marshmallow, Mike.
He doesn't come off like
give him a hug.
I don't believe he's a badass in this film.
I will say we're forgetting one character. She plays, her name is Rosemary Forsyth. Like, she's the one with the short hair that, like,
The doctor?
the doctor that opened up the cave.
Yeah.
I thought she was actually the best actress in this whole movie.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like she had a naturalness to her that, like, everybody else kind of lacked in this one.
Yeah, but when her balloon goes down, it's probably one of the funniest things.
That is such a cheesy
oh,
scene.
Shit!
Again, very dated looking.
Not only that, but it's like there's no way she survived that shit.
No, it hits and she just rolls out.
Yeah.
Just a judo roll right out.
Anyways, this film opens up with a flashback basically, and we're in this town. And I'm not going to go through like the whole thing, but I wanted to say like these cops again are not. So again, the first thing they do is they split up. always a good choice when there's something fucking fishy.
Well,
the whole town's
look,
fucking
look,
missing.
Let's also keep in mind something's up too. We've actually glossed over the whole thing that Natasha Hendricks is like
a drug addict.
A drug addict, and like not only
What's
that, but like her superior officer totally knows about it.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows
Sounds
about
like
it.
everybody
yeah,
is.
and nobody seems to care.
No one seems to care. Here's the other thing too. It's another correlation with waves. Like there's like waves in her trips, but then also like I feel like they tried to make Desolation Williams' catchphrase have to do with the tide is rising. Like what the fuck? Like someone with the tide. I'm like that's the lamest shit I've ever heard.
Some deep
Especially
shit.
since according to his backstory, I believe he's been born and raised on this planet, so he's never even seen a tide. No water.
There you go.
Huh.
No
It's
water.
poetry, Cody.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
poetry.
That's true. He's never seen a wave.
Yeah.
There's no water there.
Lying
What
son
a
of a
fucking
bitch.
liar.
Well, anyways.
He is a criminal. So basically, they split up, and what happens is one team goes to the jail, which is Natasha and Jason Statham. They go to the jail. And
He's being a creep as fuck. Like that dude's character is so.
Jason Statham.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's so
it's
weird.
fucking really misplaced in this society that again is supposed to be ran by strong female people, like people. Yeah, that's what they are. But
They wanted to show that these females were strong enough to like defend themselves against somebody like Jason Statham's character, like when he's being pervy and weird, you know. But I just felt like
it was out of place.
It was out of place, and it just made me dislike him like right off the bat.
Well, the fucking stupid thing too about that is like she's telling the story in the thing, and like her story is basically like we went to check on Desolation, we saw that he was there, and we just turned around and walked out. And that's it. And then it's like, and then I found out later from the other guys, and then it does a flashback of a different perspective.
Save some hot water. And then, like, we hear that line again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Those flashback cuts are fucking irritating.
And they walk into the like all the deaths that happened in Batman and Robin, apparently, because that's what that fucking set looks like when they walk into like the cafeteria.
Oh
or whatever
yeah,
it is.
it's all
Robin.
neon, blue, purple.
Yes, it's so fucking
yeah, okay,
weird, dude.
I was like, I don't remember decapitated,
Yeah.
upside down corpses in that movie.
That was
You might be thinking of
that was
Predator 2?
That is the darkest Batman. Let's say that. Fuck Christopher Nolan.
That's what was cut. It was cut from the movie. A lot of people don't know that. That scene was cut.
The lighting choices were pretty.
Mr. Freeze was
saturated.
actually a gory
It's-
son of a bitch.
It's just fucking weird because it's the only set piece that looks like that.
Yeah.
The rest of it, John Carpenter said, "What does the future look like?" He said, fucking hill houses. I don't fucking know."
I feel like John Carpenter might have been like, I'm gonna leave this up to like Greg Nicotero and the team to kind of like,
well, not set design.
well, not set design, but like, you know, like I feel like he just kind of placed it in the hands of just whoever was doing it, you know. And
I feel like that's probably the case. I feel like he was at a point where he's like, I'm focused on the story and directing.
I feel definitely with the makeup because, and again, this is lazy shooting. I feel like too because there's this thing with these creatures where once they get into the human body, they start just destroying their faces and skin and making these like tribal fucking things, but with like all this metal,
whatever they can find.
And then there's like the B-roll guys who are just face painted up that you think are supposed to be in the background,
man.
but those motherfuckers are in the foreground more. They're in the background,
They
and
shouldn't
again,
be.
feels like Batman and Robin.
like a bunch of goons doing some
So
like
much.
circus like sideshow.
Yes,
on
it
the...
looks like Batman and Robin. Chris, is what I'm saying.
No, I know. The thing is, you
Well,
can't.
Batman Returns.
You can easily look past what's going on in the foreground to see how like little effort they put into the background people, and then it just cheeses it
I
up
will
that
say
much
I
more.
do want to defend the special effects though. I
Some
do
of
feel
them.
I do feel like for some of those characters they did a really solid job on the costuming and the makeup design to make them look contorted and weird and shit. Like
agree.
with like the knives and the weird cuts on them, and like the main dude has his throat slit and it's all open when he leans
A
back
lot of
and
throat
shit.
slits
Like
in this.
I thought that looked pretty good.
They're
Lot of-
really
lot of
using that
fucking-
gag.
lot of severed heads in this, Chris. There's a severed head every 10 seconds.
That part
yeah.
looked goofy as hell. That's just
kinda
like a
like-
bunch of mannequin dolls on a
Yeah.
fucking pike.
It did.
Well, that brings me to the worst. I want to talk about the worst flashback also in this film, which is like they're like, okay, let's go figure out what's wrong with this town.
Okay.
So they go and they see a guy who's in a car who is like kills himself. Don't come in here because there's this thing is in me. Don't come in here.
But they can't hear that. All they hear is
yeah, and he cuts himself. Right, and then Pam Grier sees somebody and she runs off and she disappears. And then Jason Statham shows up, and then there's a fucking flashback when Jason Statham shows up of what just happened 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
yeah.
Of the guy sitting in there and then cutting his throat again. And I'm
Cody,
like,
Cody, that's how you tell a story to someone else. Like
Yeah,
if you're in
same.
front of a tribunal, you tell the story and then you pick up from 10 minutes prior. That way people can follow the story better.
Everybody knows
You think
that.
that was the choice? Might have been.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna capture.
She was also probably high as fuck when
Forgetting
she's telling the
where
story.
you
So she
were.
just kept repeating
I wonder-
shit she'd
in
already
a
told.
story,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna do it in the editing room.
I wonder how many high choices she made. Like when they all decided, like, okay, we're gonna run for the train. Where in the building that they're in, that you can clearly see that the train is not there.
Yeah.
Because no matter where you are in this town, you can tell when the train is in the station.
It's like the largest thing in that town.
like the
It's
main
a fucking giant train.
And they couldn't tell until they got onto the platform where the train would pull up that the train was.
Yeah, and at that point is when she decides to radio the train. Like she had to move 10 feet from the police station
Hold
to
on.
get a
I thought
better
we jumped
signal.
in time.
Was the train shrunk? It could be in the track, and we just need to shrink ourselves down, get in the train, and get the fuck out of here.
It's the only thing that makes
Is that
sense.
Ant-Man?
That's what it is.
Just like our breathing tubes that apparently you only have to suck on every once.
Only
every 5
once.
minutes.
I was like paying attention to that in this movie. They hit it once. I'm like, that's enough. You're good. That gas just sits in you for what? You good for an hour?
We have to talk about the ghosts too, like
I would.
the
yeah.
leader ghost.
Leader
I want
ghost.
the leader ghost.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a name.
Yeah, he. What do they call him on set? They call him
Leader Ghost.
big. No, is
LG.
No, it's big Mars. I think is what they call
Big
him.
Mars.
Oh,
Big
Big
Mars.
Mars.
Okay.
Oh, Big Daddy Mars.
Oh, I
Here's
like
the
that.
question I have.
Don't like that.
When they were thinking about like what voice do we want to give this menacing leader character? Why did they go with Animal from Muppet Babies? Like, does it not
no.
sound like Animal from Glugger?
It's that.
It does, dude.
Sounds like that. Not even Animal from the Muppets, which is just like, the animal. Like, it's even less menacing. It's the baby version of that.
Because they blend I was trying to pay attention to what they were doing because it sounded so stupid. It was him making that noise, but then actually a human sounding voice underneath it making those noises the best that actor possibly could, probably, and the blend just didn't work. It
sounded immediately takes
stupid as
any
fuck.
fear away from that character.
Yes.
I also
It does.
felt really bad for that actor because in one of the behind the scenes things, it was him screaming and then cut, and then he was like coughing uncontrollably afterwards because he clearly fucked his throat up with that.
That's
scream.
all he did. The whole movie is scream.
That's it.
Yeah, I felt bad for that dude. Like shit.
But like, what were they trying to express? Were they trying to express that like the aliens
It's
had?
a different language.
Yeah, but how come he's the only one speaking?
Because he's the
Because
leader.
he's the leader. They're
And
all
none
the
of the other ones
fucking
are,
minions.
They're not okay.
They're all possessed.
They're all drones.
It wasn't like an attempt for this creature like try to speak and it can't fit. Because here's the thing that I thought about this movie: when a ghost takes over, when a ghost of Mars
Yes.
takes over a body, it seemed to me like they were like spending so much trying to figure out how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
why they
Like-
do Tai Chi.
I've never been in this. And I thought that the artistic choice of this guy was like, this is what happens when this ghost tries to vocalize its own language in a vocal cord that it doesn't understand. Like, how do I use my tongue? Like, I don't know how. What is lips? Like, I can't pronounce this anymore.
Like
I
maybe
like
a
that.
few more days, and like he would have picked up like the English
Yeah,
language.
Like,
a few more
imagine if a
days. We've been
dolphin- if
doing
I-
mystery theater
if I
or whatever.
transported a dolphin's body into my brain, or like his brain into my brain, like it's what it would try to do. When it's like, I can't make that noise. I normally do that icky noise.
Just me, Mike Walker, like.
Oh,
Are you
God.
doing a bad impression of a dolphin? I am a dolphin.
Mike, are you a dolphin right now?
No.
Okay.
Yes,
No.
that voice killed that character because that character it looked like a ripped ass Marilyn Manson with like fang teeth.
It was just such a weird.
It looked like,
It did.
yeah, he could have been in Kiss. He could have been in a lot of bands. Like,
I thought they all looked like extras from that D. Snyder movie.
dude, no, they all look.
Strangeland.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's like
No.
a blend of that.
It was
there.
like it was again. John Carpenter was like, you know what was a cool movie? What? Road Warriors. That movie was the shit. Let's get some of those guys. We'll just make them from
Right.
Mars.
Yeah, I did think a lot
No,
about
as a production designer, was
Yeah.
like, you know, it's a cool movie, and John Carpenter's like, I don't care.
whatever you say.
For me, it
Yeah,
just
that was a fine
immediately.
film.
It immediately changed, like the fear, like any fear that I might have had from seeing like these weird things take over human bodies and have it self-mutilate itself. Like, for a second, I might have given it like a Hellraiser kind of situation. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's really fucked up. But this one guy immediately is just like, no, these are a bunch of goofy bastards.
Well, and I liked that scene.
Barely know what they're doing.
I like the scene when like the three, because there's Desolation has his three friends who are here to spring him out of jail, and they're keeping an eye on the mine. And when we see that their perspective, while watching the miners get taken over by this cloud, and then come to and they start mutilating themselves. I thought that scene was pretty cool because it was just kind of raw. It was like, yep, we're just cutting ourselves, we're shoving needles through our faces and shit.
That part
like,
was that was the most impressive part of this movie.
Yeah, that was like solid. But as soon as like the dude started talking, I was just like, okay.
I was like, now you're like a cartoon character. I don't even give a shit anymore. Like,
man, I stopped giving a shit when way earlier than that. Going back to that first escape scene when they're like running for the train that's not there, and they already know that at this point they already know if you kill one of these things, you're releasing the spirit and it's gonna get in the body. And they just decide, you know what we should do?
I know,
just fucking start shooting everyone.
yeah,
I know. It's the most
don't
insane
understand
thing.
why, like, they aren't all dead immediately in that scene.
Yeah. I don't get it either.
It's because
It's a movie.
I'll tell you why. It's because these damn spirits can't get through doors, windows.
I know they can't.
It's carried by the wind, which can literally get in through
They're
anything.
stopped by a steel door.
It's so funny. If it was just the wind
Well,
that
wait a
was
minute,
carrying on.
wait a
I
minute.
want to chase you, but I can't.
Wait. Those doors were airlocks.
Oh,
Ooh. Air's not breathable down there. Up there on Mars.
damn.
There you go.
Kyle,
I cracked the case.
right there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Though. Wait, if that's the case, there's no air on Mars. There's no wind.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Shit just got deeper. I don't know. There's some mean ass windstorms on Mars. We learned that
Looks
from
like
the train.
it.
The train was
true.
getting rocked in the wind.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know shit about this. Like,
Here's the other thing too, man.
Mars. Maybe there is wind.
I'll tell you
I
what,
don't
these
know.
demons, they don't like these demons, these aliens that are still having these planets. They don't like having a good time.
What do you
Because
mean?
They are anti-drug. As soon as they take over Natasha, they to help her out while she's getting possessed, they just drop drugs in her mouth.
Yeah.
Can I just say though, that might have been the only smart thing this movie does. There was a part of me that was just kind of like, I mean, this is shot like shit and it's stupid looking, but like honestly, like the idea that like the drug addict gets away because the creature goes in the body and says this body's all fucked up and
all
toxic. I
drugged
gotta
up,
get the
yeah.
fuck out of here. Like, said something, but I was just like, but it is lost in pretty much everything else. The other 90 minutes of this film.
Definitely overshadowed by all the
Well,
bullshit.
she also has like the where she's like part tripping out and then also learns everything that you need to know about this alien
that
race.
looks so bad.
It's
Dude,
like,
2001 3D effects, man.
can I
Holy
also say,
shit.
in my mind, the way I read it was the alien went into the body and like got on drugs got high for the first time and just spilled everything.
Yeah.
Like, and then like my fucking brother,
Yeah.
he's just like,
When I was
fucking-
8,
he's an asshole.
when I was
don't
8,
even
my
like him.
mom died. That really hurt. You know, I was
dude.
really dealing with that a lot.
Dude, I gave him one hit off of a joint. He's like fucking.
Dude, it's not
letting
even
it all
actually
out.
weed. It wasn't
So
even
weird.
actually weed.
I just found out he was adopted. He's never told anybody. Like, I just felt like
Jesus.
anyways, that's how I read that scene.
This whole goddamn movie is a nightmare from start to finish. Let's do this. Let's take a break and when we come back, we'll talk more about Ghost of Mars. And we are back.
Ghost of Mars!
2001.
Ghost of Mars!
200 episode, huge episode, Ghost of Mars, 4-year joke.
We really picked a
21%.
21% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I saw the score and I said yes.
I said too high for
That's
me.
about too high.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
I-
I
yeah,
guess we know where we're going
almost.
on these ratings.
I gotta talk about some weird things that I think. Well, Chris,
yes, sir.
you mentioned
Sorry.
it, but also like there's some weird acting moments in this film where I feel like
yes.
I don't know, like if people lost, like if the director was just like do whatever and improvise. Okay, so there's a scene. Do you guys remember? Okay, there's a scene where Natasha Hendricks, she brings in, after they find out to the miners that they thought the whole time were just surviving miners. They find out they're criminals, and they're working with Desolation to like get him, right?
His
and
crew.
Right.
His crew, and they're called Uno, Dos, and Tres, right?
Yeah.
Right? So they go in, and the way they trick this gang is that they all walk into the jail cell, and it's like
classic.
this like Acme Looney Tunes fucking Roadrunner
Brilliant
situation
scene.
where they shut the door on him, right?
Yeah.
And now they're all locked in the cell.
Pure magic.
Pure magic, right?
Yeah. Cinema
Okay,
magic. Gold.
So I hope you guys remember this. He was in Friday. He's in this film as well.
Ice Cube.
He's called he's dope. Thank you, Chris.
Correct.
The other guy.
Someone give him a treat.
His name is Lobo.
The Hispanic dude.
Yeah, he's Dos, Lobo Sebastian, right?
Right,
His
right,
name- character actor, we've seen in a bunch of stuff. At some point in time, he like starts ripping off his shirt and he starts acting real weird. And
In this scene?
yes, and this goes on for a while. At first, it looks like he's having an absolute meltdown, like he's shaking. Like this is extra work. So like he is not the focal point of this scene, right? But my eye was drawn, and once it was drawn to him, that's the only person I was watching, right? There's a moment
What
where
were you waiting for?
well, okay, let me tell you what happens. She shuts the door, Chris, okay? And then he immediately drops down onto the bench in the cell, puts his hand on his head, and starts shaking like he's having a seizure. Okay? And I'm like,
Flashback.
That's weird. That's
Flashback.
weird. So next scene is like a front shot of them talking to Desolation, and they're like trying to like barter with guns drawn and shit. Like it's this real tense scene. But in the back, he's like ripping his shirt off and like feeling his body like he's in withdrawal.
Wow.
Okay. And then finally, what happens is they finally open the cell. The gang comes out. He immediately, again, everybody is talking, and he sits in like a bench off to the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's even a moment where Jason Statham's character looks at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's again like he has his shirt off, and he's like trembling, like he's just seen like a ghost or something.
Like
Ghost
the
of
thing
Mars?
is in
Shut
him.
up like a fucking ghost of Mars.
Does anybody remember any
No.
like dialogue that explains this? In which case, is it like an acting choice and this guy just went with it? And he was supposed to be like, all right, I'm going to pretend
He's
like
probably tripping balls
here's my
on set.
backstory. Here's my backstory. I was in a jail cell at one time, and this is my worst fear. And now the door is shut, and like now I'm out, and I gotta have time to cool down.
Maybe he's like one of those people that's just like, I need you to act, and that was his interpretation.
Well,
It could have been, but then he plays a drug addict.
That's what I was gonna say.
We
There's
find
a
out he's a drug
theme. There's a
addict.
theme going on here with drugs.
Right. Is he laying the groundwork for this idea that maybe he's going through withdrawal?
Oh, yeah.
But wait a second. He's only been in a cell for maybe 3 minutes. It's a little early to be like,
Plus, he has the thing on him.
yes. So, like, it's,
I'm going with
it's-
tripping balls on set. He took
Tripping
something. He took something right before they said action, and it fucking hit him hard and fast.
I don't
No.
know.
no, not in real
no
life.
way.
I'm asking as a character. No, but as a character choice, did he do that? We already know he's a drug addict.
No, I think that's a real life event. Maybe.
No, I think he.
don't
No,
think
But I didn't
no,
see
no,
this
no,
scene.
He had to
I
have
didn't, I
made
didn't see what
an
you're describing
acting
at
choice.
all.
I think he said, "This is my fucking shot.
Yeah.
This is it. I have this character, and I am going to act my ass off in this movie." And he's like, so my character, he's a drug addict, and he's having in these tense situations, he really wants the drugs, but he doesn't feel comfortable yet taking them in front of these people because he's in this control.
Well, they're
and this
cops.
power. I'm just saying, I'm just going off.
He's a big
crazy
John
right
Carpenter
now.
But he's
fan. He
already,
wants to impress.
he's already in the
Mike.
jail cell. The other thing, too, but I'm thinking in the other end
I
of
really
it,
wish I had seen what you're describing.
oh, I know, I wish, but you know what? I feel like somebody who loves this fucking movie on the other end is going to be like, yeah, I know exactly why.
On the other end.
God damn it, 200 episodes. Let's talk normal, people.
I'm sorry.
Let's bring our good mouths
It's
tonight.
the warm kava, guys. It's the fucking hot kava.
hot kava.
You have to watch this scene because apparently nobody knows
Do
what
you
I'm
have a
talking about.
problem with his acting? If the fact he's either acting
It's not
poorly
that, Chris.
or
It's
he's
not. It's not that, Chris. It's the fact that he's making a clear choice.
Yeah, Chris, goddammit.
He's making a clear choice, an acting choice that is never explained nor understood. Like it's almost like John Carpenter said, "Do whatever the fuck you want to do, steal the
Yeah.
scene or whatever."
Yeah.
Or it's the opposite,
Yep.
and that was supposed to be part of the storyline, and they cut it, and they were like, "But we have all these scenes where he's like acting like a drug addict, and we didn't like really address that yet."
Oh, you
and they were
think
like,
that's-
"Fuck it, keep
that was
it
on
in
the
there."
cutting room floor?
This is the last time I ever direct another movie.
I think it was the first thing you said.
You think it's the first one?
Yeah, I don't
Like, he
give a
said,
fuck,
"Just
do whatever you
do whatever the
want."
fuck you want." He's like, "My backstory is I'm a drug addict. I'm in a jail cell, and
Sounds
I'm
great.
worried where I'm going to get my next fix.
I really feel like this guy didn't have one-on-ones with John Carpenter.
No, or
during
Carpenter
the whole
was
set,
like,
the whole
just
shoot.
channel whatever you're going
But if
through.
you're the
talking about?
director,
He cuts
at
his
what time
thumb
are you
off.
like, what are you doing over there? What are you doing over there?
Yeah.
They're having a discussion. Why are you
listen,
shaking like a fucking seizure?
No.
I would totally say that because guess what? This is probably my first film. This is John Carpenter at a point where he's kind of starting to check out. He probably
That's what I'm
doesn't
saying.
notice
There's
what's
a part
happening.
of me that with that, I see this stuff happen in bad, really bad, like indie films.
Based on Natasha,
Where like they get an
no.
actor and they don't really know what to do with actors, and actors just start doing their own thing, and you see them off to the side doing weird shit, right? And I feel like this is a thing where maybe John Carpenter was like, I just don't give a fuck anymore.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Because based on Natasha Henstridge's performance in this film, clearly John Carpenter was kind of checked out.
Dude, she has the charisma of a wood plank.
Like, I feel like she was almost like, I'm going to go kind of Jamie Lee on this one, but badass.
Where?
Like, I don't know. I just feel like she kind of had a Jamie Lee Curtis
She had
vibe.
the same tone throughout the whole movie. It
Yeah,
never
I
changed.
don't think she had Jamie
No,
Lee
it
Curtis
wasn't.
at any
no,
point.
it wasn't going well. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maybe she was kind of channeling.
I don't
that
even
a
know if
little
she was
bit.
channeling it. She's probably channeling Species, but more human.
Oh shit!
I was an alien
She
and
was
more
wrapped up in
robotic,
that
so
Species
now I'm
world.
going to be a little more human.
Sure.
That's it. That was the character choice. I don't think anyone acted good in this movie.
No, there's
Like,
definitely.
like even
I mean, no.
Again,
I
Ice
kind of
Cube-
do agree with Chris, but yes.
Ice Cube,
Go on.
like I even said, like as I'm watching the movie, and like I like Ice Cube, but I mean, as I was watching this movie, I said, man, you couldn't
No.
get in a little better shape for this film.
It was a bad performance, in my opinion.
It was, but he was also like not in shape for this movie.
What was the shape that he was supposed to be in for
Like,
this
I feel
movie?
like he was
what,
in
what does
better-
that mean?
Like, what
up.
does that mean?
I
Like,
feel
yeah,
like
what
he
does
was.
that even mean?
I feel like he's
Yeah.
been in better shape for other movies. Like,
Physical
just
shape?
yes, you're supposed to be an action star. He's got like a beer gut, dude. Like he's got like you know what I mean? Like Desolation Williams.
That didn't
Desolation
catch
Williams-
that. I didn't pick that up at all,
Desolation
man.
Williams has dad bod.
I feel like
I didn't pick that up at
I didn't.
all.
Really,
I did. I did.
Honestly, I really didn't have a problem with it because in real life, like people, like, despite what they like, you don't have to be like ripped to be like a killer.
If I've learned anything from action movies, yes, you do.
No.
Yeah, but like that's.
That's
Russell
action
wasn't
movies
really
of like
ripped.
the 80s and 90s,
Yeah,
man. That's
I don't know. Like again, it's just it's something that sticks out to me. Without
I
it's
don't know.
just,
You really focusing on the male bods in action movies. I get it.
you know, I'm a big fan of that. I grew up with Arnold.
I need some muscle.
You know what I mean? I grew up with Arnold. That's what
I
I'm
need
saying.
a beefcake with my
I don't know.
action.
And Stallone. Like
he
those are my
just
action
had too
heroes.
much snarl for me. Like I know that's Ice Cube's thing is to kind of have a snarly like delivery to his lines, and I just think he played it up a little
I
too
don't know,
much.
man. I just kind of feel like with Ice Cube, man, if you're hiring Ice Cube, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, you do.
You know,
do.
you're
I don't
getting-
think
you're
John
not gonna
Carpenter
get,
knew what
like,
he was
he's not
getting.
going to
You don't
disappear
think
into a
Ice
character.
Cube would want some
I
feedback?
don't think John
some
Carpenter
constructive
wanted Ice
feedback?
Cube.
I don't think John Carpenter wanted Ice Cube either. I think he wanted Jason Statham. I think that was the right choice.
Dude,
too.
I don't know. I, mean,
don't know
who-
if that was.
I don't know.
I don't
Who
think I
knows?
like Jason Statham really in this movie.
No, but if he was Desolation Williams, I think he would have played that so much better.
Yeah, he
Maybe.
totally would have played that so much
Maybe.
better.
Maybe. Get out of here.
I don't think he was that strong in the even this role that he was given.
He was given.
Jericho. I don't think it was.
I thought he was solid in it. He was good for what he had to do.
All right, I want to talk about one last thing, and that's the end of this film, and
Let's do
the
it.
the balls that this film has for the end of it. Two things is first they all make it out of there, then they decide they have to go back and set off a nuclear bomb that's supposed to be like a mile wide, yet this thing goes off.
And
It
like
looks
half the planet shook.
Yeah.
Looks like it fucking blew off a quarter of the planet. It's insane.
That irritated me so much.
It did.
Wait, stop. We have to go back. And it's like, why? No, we're just going to keep going. Then we'll just leave.
And then everybody gets off and like dies though in this way of glory though. I love that. I love that they just like for some reason just all
get
jump off
chopped
the
up.
oh, but they all are just like we should just jump off this fucking armored train out in the open. That's a great idea.
to be brave.
Yeah.
Like it's like what the fuck? That was what
Yeah.
a weird choice.
Fuck the ending.
Dumb choice.
But I gotta say it does have the coolest, my favorite parts of this movie, and that's when like okay, the coolest weapon that these Martians have are just saw blades.
Oh, yeah.
And they hurl these fucking saw blades
Oh, yeah. They're like
so
ninjas.
fast.
Precision.
like death frisbees from fucking hard ticket to Hawaii,
Yeah.
which will be coming to Film Bar soon with us. But it's cool. That's wow, God, what's her name in the movie? The
Fate of all.
Yeah, she gets decapitated right there. And that's like my favorite part of this whole movie.
That's weird because actually I want to talk about the saw blades because you reminded me of something. There are scenes where the saw blades like cut people's heads off and their arms off, and it looks super cheesy, right?
Yes. Definitely.
And then there's some times where like the saw blades just kind of like bounce off heads and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's some realistic fucking shit.
Yeah.
There's like a few kills where it just like it looks like they literally threw a saw blade at somebody.
Yeah.
And they got hit with it. It's how you know a saw blade probably does hit somebody.
Right.
Like it probably cuts through and bounces off somewhere.
Just the
it
thought
never
of it.
decapitates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know, man. Like there was a few shots where I was like, oof.
I was
done
definitely
well.
down with that as a weapon. I was
thought that
down
was
with
a solid
that shit.
weapon.
It's my favorite weapon in the whole movie. It's the only thing that I like that these aliens really do.
And I'm over here wondering. I'm like, these guys are mining for rocks. What do they need so many saw blades for in their operation?
Right,
They're not cutting lumber.
Yeah, that is weird, isn't
They're they're mining fucking rock. I don't know.
Well, now great. Thanks for ruining it more.
Not one person dies by jackhammer in this film. It's the one thing that they would probably have.
Okay, so and then we're also the other ballsy thing that this movie does at the end is they the Cloud comes into this new city where she's telling the story after she's done telling the story, and she wakes up to alarms going off and all hell is apparently breaking loose. And who busts into her room?
Ice Cube.
Desolation.
Yep.
And what are they gonna do? Go kick some ass because it's what they do best.
Chrome
and it's
machine
I know,
guns.
with chrome machine guns. Like,
Yes.
where do you get chrome machine guns?
So, it makes no sense. First of all, are you talking about the balls of the fact that he like was just like, there's gonna be a fucking sequel to this
yes!
movie?
Yes!
That's exactly how I thought. I'm like, you honestly believe that you're going forward with a 2 on this?
Yeah, it goes to Mars
Maybe that's
2.
just the smart businessman in him. He's like, always go for the sequel.
Always
Never
go-
give up on the sequel.
John Carpenter.
There was no
school
sequel
film.
to Thing, okay?
Always
that
go
movie
for
ends
the
dead
sequel.
more than any other movie
I feel
ends
like
dead.
Never close that door.
He's made one sequel and it was a remake.
Yeah.
Well, he was trying, maybe.
It's a weird scene, man. It is. It gets real cheesy, real fast.
the
And she
Weird-
says what
no.
they do best, and they don't do it best. Everybody
Here's-
dies.
Here's the
Yeah,
weirdest
they're really
part
terrible
about it.
at killing.
The weirdest part about it was it felt like a way to shoehorn in Natasha Henstridge in her underwear because, like, the whole movie had, like, no sex, like, zero sexiness. And then, like, that one scene she climbs out and it's like she's in her underwear. I feel like it was almost a little gratuitous.
Chris, I disagree.
You
I don't
do?
think this was the reason for this scene.
I
I
don't
feel
think
like,
so
I feel like
either.
maybe it was a conscious choice.
It's a
Like,
big
we need to
reason
add
to put
some of
a
that.
scene where chrome machine guns are involved.
No, I think
Comes right after
I
it.
think they went Desolation. I think they went. The studio said you got Ice Cube, Desolation Williams.
we can make
franchise. This is a franchise.
Well, they just saw Pitch Black and they're like,
a thing. Hey, it's working out for. But
Everybody
there
was
is no
angling for
ending to
that.
Pitch Black. And I definitely when they made Chronicles of Riddick, that was a film where I was like, they're making a sequel to Pitch Black. I mean, it just fucking ends how it should end.
Yeah.
The aliens are on the fucking thing.
well, that's why it's a prequel, right? Aren't all of them prequels?
It's not the point, Kyle. It's not the point, Kyle.
also was at the end of this movie. Did anybody else go like, "Yeah, dude, I wonder what happens after this"?
No,
I didn't.
No.
I was wondering what I'm going to eat for dinner after I was done
Although I
watching.
am oddly curious, how did the aliens get?
They turned back
They're
into
just
smoke.
clouds.
No, the nuclear bomb vaporized them, and then they became a cloud again, and that cloud moved to the
It's a
next
bigger
city.
cloud.
Did
So
they
not
address
even-
that in the
Not
film?
even a new.
What do you mean? Did they address that? They blew up the nuclear reactor. They killed all the bodies, but the scientist even says, "I have no idea if this is going to actually kill the dust."
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh, I forgot, yeah.
microbiology.
So they're still on Mars. I keep thinking they're flying off of Mars.
No one
Where-
leaves
where
Mars.
is he? Why is he off of Mars?
I
This
keep
whole
thinking they're
Ghosts
gonna go back
of
to
Mars.
Earth. Why
No.
would you be on Mars? Go back to Earth.
Because
It's not
there's,
ghosts of
immediately.
space.
there's great mining
All right.
opportunities, obviously.
Never mind. Apparently, Earth never comes into play in this film.
No, not once. Not once is Earth even mentioned in this
The
film.
first place I'm going, I'm gonna get on a plane to fucking Earth.
I'm like, dude, where
There
is he
are
getting?
like a
definitely
plane.
none of these fucking creatures on Earth.
I'm like, where's he getting this whole Earth
I
thing?
don't know. It's definitely never. We never go there.
Anyways, I wish it had.
They don't even look at Earth.
Earth was more interesting than Mars. It's a very rare time I'm ever going to say that. Super interesting. I would have been like, when does this go to Earth? Because that's kind of where I wanted to go.
You just wanted like Doom 2.
Yeah, it basically
Don't care.
Hell
Yeah.
on Earth.
Bring hell to Earth. I don't care.
the virus just keeps spreading though. Basically, and it goes
yeah.
to the next town.
Yeah, and that's the movie that
And they're going to do what they do best.
It
What they
ends,
do
it
best.
ends on the lamest note possible.
When she gets her ass kicked, that whole end fight scene is like Ice Cube kicking ass and her just getting thrown around in a train.
Can I talk about one other thing? This is the thing that actually disappointed me in the film. So we've talked about like this is supposed to be a matriarchal society and stuff like that. Natasha Hendricks is the main character, not Desolation, right? How come Desolation gets the fucking final bad boy kill? The big bad kill goes to him. It doesn't go to the.
Yeah, she
That's
just
a good
gets
point.
Yeah, because franchise.
Desolation. He's the franchise.
Can I say that's exactly what I thought. I thought there was a definite power shift right there, where I was like, "Oh, so we're not gonna make
Natasha
the girl's
doesn't-
not the hero."
Well, he
anymore.
definitely
Natasha doesn't
has
make it in 2, and there's a new Desolation Girl, and that's the new thing. It's
Yeah,
like
Desolation Girls.
Yeah, Desolation Girls.
Oh, I like it. We should make sequels.
That's cool.
Also, like a Netflix series.
It's the worst James Bond idea since Triple X.
Every episode's a new Desolation Girl.
Yeah,
Not a bad idea.
Anyways, I thought that was a weird.
You gotta look
thing.
at big dollars. I'm looking at big dollars here.
You
This is
are.
a franchise.
It's exactly how I thought.
You're just
They
giving
had
it
to
away.
Come on, this is Ice Cube we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is huge. 2001. I'm putting everything on fucking Ghost
With a
of
name
Mars.
like
That's so sad if that
Desolation.
actually happened that way. It's like we got Natasha Hendricks. We're like, oh my god, that's great. That girl from Species.
Man.
Yes, we got her, dude. Now we got Ice Cube. Oh man, I'm gonna have to rewrite this whole script. It's terrible.
I got to rewrite this whole script because we got fucking gold.
I don't know. I thought she should
Like
have
just
had
some
that.
studio. I feel like the studio execs were just
All
dicks
over
on this. Yeah, just
I,
all
I
over
have
this.
to imagine because there's just there's too much of that going on in this film where I felt like this feels like an executive decision. This
Right,
doesn't
the
feel
whole
like
sequel
a
ending
director
feels like
decision.
the whole sequel ending feels like a total like
Yep.
studio decision.
Hey, you know what? It bums me out that we didn't talk about yet.
No,
Hey,
go
we're
ahead.
only 7 hours into this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
The music,
Oh,
I'm not
the
bummed.
worst thing in the movie.
I'm not bummed about it.
because
I'm not
John
that
Carpenter did the
bummed.
music for this, right? Which is something he's usually praised for.
No, he really didn't.
He did quite a bit. I did notice a lot of
No.
his stuff in here.
This entire soundtrack is by the band Anthrax with
Yeah.
help from Steve Vai and Buckethead.
Really?
I-
Why did
yeah.
he get the music credit at the beginning?
He
did the opening scene.
arranged. He arranged the music,
In the movie,
but
he
it
just
was
put 'em in.
all performed and basically rearranged.
Well, wait.
by
The,
Anthrax.
the opening credit scene has to be John Carpenter.
No, that's Anthrax and Buckethead.
well, there's
Steve Vai.
tons of John
But
Carpenter shit
there's
in
no
here.
guitars or anything. It's just like
Yeah,
this,
there
a
is.
typical like dun dun.
That's
dun,
guitar.
Dun, dun.
There's guitar in that.
Here's my complaint.
I watched a video of them recording the goddamn song.
Here's my
I
complaint.
don't know.
The music in this movie
Okay.
and it gives away everything. It's the fucking most ridiculous thing. Anytime there's something bad's gonna happen, metal music just instantly kicks in.
Start shredding.
That's the best thing you could do in a horror movie. I've seen a lot of horror movies, and cueing metal music when I'm supposed to be suspenseful and terrified works every
It's like,
time.
They do it like super
Every
early though.
time.
You're like, all right, I already know something's gonna happen because they just started the metal music. And then it's sure as shit, there it is, some sort of action
Also,
scene.
I
like-
do think it's a little endearing.
And also,
No, it's just
hold on
awful.
though. Endearing if this was like 1993. That's the weird thing. This is 2001. Heavy metal. This is not the
Right.
peak for heavy metal.
No, not at all. This
This isn't
definitely-
Metallica's best years.
I don't know. There was some pretty metal shit going
No,
on.
I'm
in
not saying that
2000,
there
early
is-
2000s, like
Come
with
on.
with film and stuff. There was
No.
definitely on a B level. There was.
Hey, metal was still doing fine. It wasn't popular, but metal was still doing
No,
cool
I
shit
know.
in the
But
2000s.
what I'm saying is like it's an odd.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it's odd for John Carpenter because he's always had that chunky kind of rock vibe to his.
That's not
to
what I
all
mean.
of his music.
If you're talking about like
It makes total
a
sense.
nostalgic feeling, like I look at the year and immediately I go, I mean, yeah, nostalgia for like 1993. Like this is still a 2001 film. Like they decided to go with this big heavy metal thing. Like this couldn't have been super popular idea at the time. I'm sorry.
No, you don't think so?
I think it
don't
would.
think so.
I think it would have been.
I mean, I could be totally wrong.
I think it would have been way better just with a normal fucking
It
score.
would have been better with a normal John Carpenter.
Yeah.
But he even said in one of the videos, he was like, I can get someone else to do the music. I don't need to do it anymore.
God damn, this is Hollywood peak John Carpenter right here.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't care.
He's like that. He's like think he's fucking.
Hey, we got
this movie.
Anthrax. They're cool, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's so funny. It's so funny. There's a clip of Steve Vai going fucking nuts on the guitar, like with stuff for like the intro and stuff where he's just doing this crazy shit, and John Carpenter's just staring at him, and it just looks like an old man confused who's just nodding his head, and then he's just like, that was super. That was super. I'm
well,
just like,
from musician to musician, you know.
Yeah. All right, let's rate this fucking movie. I'm done talking about it.
Let's rate this Mammer Jammer.
This is not really anybody's pick. What are we gonna review?
How many non-pronounceable last names Natasha Henstridges are we gonna give this?
Stonehenges? Can we just put Stonehenge?
Natasha Stonehengerstridges.
How many Devols are we gonna give this? Who she just gave up throughout the whole picture.
Decapitated
We didn't
Devols.
talk at all about her.
That's
She- why- she didn't-
we touched on her a few
She
times.
didn't
It's
act
fine.
throughout the whole film. She didn't act.
No, I know.
She didn't act.
Come on.
What I'm saying is, it's not an excuse to put her as a fucking rating.
All right, let's do skill
Saw
sauce.
Blades.
Skill sauce.
Kyle,
Saw Blades.
we're gonna do Saw Blades. Kyle,
Oh, thanks for letting me know, Cody.
everyone,
Cool.
I'll go first.
I bet you will.
Man, again, this movie lives in my head as a bigger legend than it actually is. There's a reason you forget this movie. It's really forgettable. This is probably, I mean, I think this is more forgettable than at least this Escape from LA is like bad fun. Like this is just bad. Like this is just really bad. I do think this is his worst film. I gotta give this one a 1. One Saw Blade.
Ooh, shit.
Dude, come on. When you're talking about his lineage of work, like this is the low point. It is. I
Yep.
think. My personal opinion. That's my personal opinion. So I'm going to go with a 1 on this one.
Cool.
Wow.
I
Put
don't
your
enjoy it.
foot down.
Yeah.
You really
Don't
own
enjoy
that
it.
one.
Funny, I love it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
good shit right
it's
there.
probably the lowest in a while, I would say.
Bold.
It is.
Hey, you know, sometimes you
Listen
got to
a while.
fucking shock the people.
You're a shock jock.
What about Chris? Let's go with Chris.
I don't know if I ever confirmed this in the beginning, but
Shock the people, Chris.
this was my first time seeing this movie. Like, I had never seen this movie before.
Oh, no. Yeah. yeah,
So-
You did neglect to tell us that.
Yeah,
Winner.
I don't know. Somehow that piece of information
Somehow.
got dropped. But it was my first time, and I was excited because I assumed most you guys had seen it already, and you always talk shit on it and joke about it and stuff like that. And it's been such a running gag that I was like excited because I thought I was gonna get a so bad it's good, and there was gonna be a lot of moments that were super fun, but like just bad dialogue. Maybe okay, we can live with that. But I think like I got too much bad, and every performance in this movie, aside from the lady I mentioned earlier, Rosemary Forsyth.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Rosemary Forsyth. I really liked her performance, but everybody else was so fucking shaky. It felt like they had no direction. They were just told to do whatever you want to do. The set was cheesy to me. It looked like Indiana Jones like ride at Disneyland, kind of like doctored up a little bit. The design of the creatures, like it's called Ghosts of Mars, and that's misleading because like I feel like I get it's a ghost that goes in and possesses these bodies, and then they become rabid zombie type demon Viking creatures. And I don't know, that just didn't work for me. That was fucking
Didn't work when you said it either, man.
That's what it made me think of, and so I was disappointed with that. I was definitely like the main demon creature ghost. His whole character and persona and sound was just cheeseball, like 100%. The action, there were some cool fight scenes. I'll say that there was a couple fight scenes that I liked, but overall. Overall just boring, like redundant. I feel like it was like they were in the same place for a really long time. It kind of got boring. I don't know why you are laughing.
Waiting for it.
Why are you on that
This
on the
has to
edge
be
of
bad,
your seat?
right? Yeah, a little
You that
bit.
on the edge of your seat right
Little
now?
bit.
Yes.
You literally just like recapped the show.
Plus, you said there was cool fight
This is the
scenes.
plot that we missed.
You also did say there was cool fight scenes, which there's not a single one.
No, I thought there were a couple that I liked. Like,
Oh, they're the worst.
No, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. It wasn't a fight scene, but when Natasha Henstridge almost breaks that dude's arm. I thought that was really well done and choreographed. Like it felt like legit to me. Like they practiced that shit.
Like that was the one. You got
That was one example.
Whatever he picks is gonna be too high for me right now. Whatever you pick. Just
for having like special effects gurus on set, I thought there were some cool effects, but overall I was like, yeah, you keep doing the same thing, like the throat cut, like it's just like like felt redundant in a lot of areas. Man, what else can I say?
I don't know.
The soundtrack,
maybe what your number rating is.
soundtrack, guys, not memorable at all.
5.
Ghost of Mars first time experience. I'm going with a 1 as well.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good time. I did not have a good time with
God.
this movie.
Oh,
I probably will never watch it again, and it definitely is at the low point for John Carpenter, and you could tell he was definitely checked out.
Woo, that was a thrill ride. That was more thrilling than this movie.
I don't know. The previous episode I feel was more of a roller coaster.
that was fun too.
Let's go with Mike.
I'm also gonna give this a 1. Just gonna jump the shark on this one. No, man.
What else is there to say after Chris's?
Yeah. It's very, very explicit. I will say one thing. I don't think that this film is not so bad it's good because it's too bad. I actually think it's the opposite way. I think actually so bad they're good films are literally so bad that you question how anyone could have thought of this.
Sure.
And then you say, well, this is absurd. Now it adds to like the actual charm of it. This one, I feel like it's almost like not bad enough. Like it hit just the right level of bad where I was just like, oh man, this just feels depressing. Like this isn't really like, the only thing that I got a glimpse of like how the fuck could anybody pass this was the voice of the main guy. Just how how unterrifying that guy's voice is. Like, he just wasn't scary. That's the only thing that made me really laugh. Everything else was just like, yeah, it just sounds like you got, like, some college student to write the script, and you got, like, some, like, it just doesn't look like anybody really tried very hard on this. It's just bad enough to be bad. So I can't give it anything higher than a 1. I don't even know why I'm not even giving it a half, quite honestly.
No, I mean there was a couple in focus shots.
It is a film.
I think maybe it's the history. Maybe
as moving pictures.
Yeah.
John Carpenter.
People showed up. Like,
I think John Carpenter's name on it kind of warrants 1 star.
Let's have a star for that.
Yeah.
It is a Carpenter film. I can look back on it fondly for that reason.
fondly.
Nice.
Kyle, coming in at a 5. Coming in at a 5.
A high five.
High 5.
I mean,
Breaking the trend.
And give this movie a high 5. Listen, longtime listeners, and you guys know I am a diehard John Carpenter fan. And the reason I am a diehard John Carpenter fan is because as a filmmaker in his entire career, he has given us incredibly iconic characters with like Michael Myers and Snake Plissken and Jack Burton. He's taken us to these amazing places in The Thing and, making a small town seem terrifying in The Fog. He did none of that in this film.
I was going to say, you didn't name Desolation Williams when you were naming off characters.
There's a reason for that. Like, I feel like this movie is an exercise in a man who is tired. And that's how it feels. A man who, and he's even said it, he's gone on record, he fucking hates the Hollywood system. And I feel like at this point in his career, he's finally fucking just done. Like, he said, yes, I'll do it. And then, like, the excitement of making another picture wore out by week 2. And then, like, there was a whole month left of shooting and then editing and post. Like, this movie is weak on the storytelling. The editing, I feel like, might be the thing I hate the most in this movie.
Again.
It's just terrible. And even, like, stuff I'm looking for when I watch a John Carpenter movie. Shots. Camera shots. All right? Director of photography. Those kind of looks, those feels, those angles. Not even present in this movie. There's fucking vanish. This literally is like it feels like somebody shot a movie and John Carpenter just slapped his name on it and got a check. He's like, cool, thanks for the money. You can use my name. You can bastardize it all you want.
Does this like attitude like creep into things? Because like I couldn't imagine that if he couldn't be bothered with the film, he like could be bothered to be in the editing room. Like, does it leak on to like this other?
Well,
like,
that's the thing.
He don't give
I
a
think
fuck,
it's.
so I guess I don't either.
I think it's a post. I think it's a what I equate it to. It's a subconscious. That he doesn't want to do it anymore. And I think that's why he stated in an interview he didn't realize how fucking checked out he was until he saw himself.
Yeah.
Behind the camera, not giving a shit and realizing, oh, I really did not give a shit.
Yeah.
This movie's getting a 1 from me as well. Stacked up with all John Carpenter's films, this one is at the bottom. Check it out if you want to watch his entire catalog, but watch it last, I guess. Or maybe watch it first. That way, it's like a palate cleanser, maybe. Is that right?
I don't know.
You just
get it out of the way.
You're really setting the bar low then going into his other films, so they'll be really good.
You eat sorbet, you don't eat dog shit going into the next course.
Yeah, so 1 from me, as like a diehard John Carpenter fan, it's sad for me to give any of his movies under a 4, but this one is a 1.
It is a 1 for sure. All right, guys, that is our show for this week. But before we go, we do have a review to read.
Whoa!
Shout out! 200th episode shout out!
Oh, man, who's going to be the 200? Do we have this pulled up anywhere?
No, we don't.
I will get it on my phone because
don't.
I want to read a
Pull
200
it up.
episode shout out. It better be long.
Pull him motherfucking up.
It better be long.
It just says, I listened.
I listened.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hell is that? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's sad about it? It's I can't even remake that sound.
Yeah.
So natural.
That's what it is. You have to breathe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yes, we do have a review. 200th episode review comes to us from Guitarded Guy 86.
Love it.
And title of his review says, "Keep 'em coming."
Yes.
That's a 5-star review. And he says, "I've been listening to you guys for a little over a year now, and I'm just about out of episodes to listen to.
Oh, what?
Hey, guy, we're at 200.
I do a lot of driving for work, and this podcast helps me keep my sanity.
That's
Love the
awesome.
show. Keep up the great work, and please review The Boxer's Omen at some point. Insane movie. I have actually thought about doing this one. You called it out, actually. It was on the trailers for that other Kung Fu movie.
Oh, that's what that is? Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like
like, that sounds
supernatural,
interesting.
mythical fucking Kung Fu shit.
I didn't know I knew what it was until right now.
Yeah. So, thank you very much, Guitarded Guy.
Guitarded, great name, great review.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it, guys. If you want a shout out at the end of the show, all you have to do is leave us a review on iTunes. Who knows? You could be on our 201 episode. Very special episode. Very special, the 201st one.
More important than 200.
Oh, way
They say
more.
by 1.
It's the first step.
It's the first step.
It means we came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made
So
it.
think about that when you're writing out your review.
You know, it's easy to round off at an even 200, but
Yeah.
we're doing it for you guys.
If we ever round off, it's going to be on a nice odd number that no one thinks about.
Yeah. 7.
411. Okay.
All right, guys, make sure you follow us on social media at Cult Film in Review on Instagram, at Cult Film _review on Twitter, and then check us out on Facebook. You can follow Kyle
You can follow me on Instagram at cultfilm_Kyle.
You can follow Chris at.
Cultfilm_Chris on Instagram.
You can follow my cat.
At Mike Saluccio on Twitter.
And you can follow me at VHS Collect on Instagram and Snapchat. That's our show for this week. Remember, if you're going to join a cult, make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you on the 201 episode.